Then he ran to the herd and selected a choice tender calf and gave it to a servant who hurried to prepare it. He then brought some curd and milk and the calf that had been prepared and set this before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. Where is your wife Sarah? They asked. There in the tent, he said. Then the Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son. Genesis 18, verse 6 to verse 10. Hearing the voice of God. This is a very detailed chapter because it carries, actually, it is a chapter of fulfillment of the divine promises of God. If you look at what the Lord said, if you look at verse 9, look at Genesis 8 verse 9. Where is your wife Sarah? They asked him. So how many were they? 3 guests, 3 visitors. So they asked in unison. But if you look at verse 10, then the Lord said, singular. So they asked together, and then the Lord said. So our focus is the Lord said. The Lord said. Not they asked, not they, but when the Lord himself. Then the Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah. By then did the Lord return? I don't know. After this, because what we saw is Sarah becoming pregnant, giving birth and all that. But the Lord had said, I will return next year to come and attend. Yeah, he participated in Genesis 21 when the boy was being weaned. I don't know he was weaned at what age. That's when the Lord was there and he told Abraham, do as whatever Sarah is. So he did come. But look, this is a point. When the Lord speaks, imagine when the Lord spoke, Sarah's barrenness expired, and promise fulfillment was actuated. He said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son. So 2 things: barrenness has ended. Number 2, Sarah will conceive and give birth. At what age? At age 89. And Abraham at age 99. Because by the time Isaac was being born, that is when Abraham was now 100 years and Sarah 90. Look here. Now Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent, which was behind him. That is tent B. Now Sarah was listening, so she can hear. And remember, this is the first time Sarah is encountering the Lord. Throughout to this point, nowhere we see actually Hagar heard the voice of God before Sarah. Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already old and well advanced in years, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself after listening, and she thought, after I am worn out and my master is old, will I now have this pressure? Then the Lord said, why did Sarah laugh? So she had her laughing was the reaction of her hearing, of her listening. Why did Sarah laugh and say, will I really have a child now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at the appointed time next day, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah was afraid, so she lied and said, I did not laugh. But he said, yes, you did laugh, so she can hear the Lord. And Abraham can hear the Lord. So I want us to look at that. It was actually an argument, because Sarah is saying, no, I did not do that because of fear. There are several things that you can highlight about the power of the voice of God. Number one, the voice of God suspends sterility of life. Sarah, for once, became fertile. Her womb, for once, became fertile. Number two, when the Lord speaks, his voice carries appointed time authority. Appointed time authority. The Lord said, I will surely come at the appointed time next year. So the voice of God is very important because it carries time clarity. Time clarity. And that is, he was confirming the word in Genesis 17 and verse 24. Genesis 17 verse 21. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to you by this time next year. So the voice of God carries time clarity. Number three, why the voice of God? Because the voice of God annuls our doubt. Remember, doubt is a sabotage that scorches faith, making it unproductive. But when God speaks, his statement nullifies the specimens of doubt, and those doubt becomes non-existent. Wow. Your fears, your doubt, and all that. Number four, about the voice of God. The voice of God, if you look there in verse 13, why did Sarah laugh and say, will I really have the child now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? Two things there. The voice of God renews your strength. Will I have a child now that I am old? If you go back in verse 11, Sarah is saying, verse 12, Sarah is saying, after I am worn out and my master is old, will I now have this pressure? And the Lord is saying, so number one, the voice of God said, will I have child that now I am old? So the voice of God is backdating their age to youth. Because her complaint was, now I am old. The voice of God, meaning the voice is backdating them to youthfulness, renewing their youthfulness like that of an eagle, And number five is the voice of God. That is where pastor was aged and that was worn out and all that. The voice of God does the impossible. She says, I am worn out, I am old. Abraham is weak because of age. I'm past menstrual cycle. And the Lord said, is anything too hard for the Lord? So the voice of God is the one that simplifies hard things, making them look very simple. The moment the Lord speaks, the rocks break in pieces. So the question is this: how did they position themselves for this voice of God? Number one is feed hospitality. Okay, you can start. Okay, let's watch out now. But number one is what happened in their compound. Number one is feed hospitality. Number two is quick. Verse 6. Abraham said to the Sarah, quick, get 3 years of flour and knead it and bake some bread. Number two is baked bread. Baked bread. You know what baked bread means? Number four is choice tender calf. Choice tender calf. Number four is some cards. CURDS, some card. Number five is milk. If you look at the 5 items they offered to the Lord to eat, they are speaking of grace. They speak of grace. That's why I keep on saying grace sacrifice. Make a sacrifice called grace sacrifice. They offered 5 things, and the Lord is